I hear men talking on that side, so men them shut up. Grind to the sun up. Who men them talking on that side? What? Yeah. Who men them talking on that side? So men them shut up. Grind to the sun up. Grind.
Yo, what up, school?
Who men them talking on that
Welcome back
side?
to HOODROK Entertainment, our realest, the list dopest, most active reaction channel on YouTube. And yo, we're touching down with some Larry Bird. We're tapping in with some Larry Bird. This one here, NBA legends explain how crazy Larry Bird was. I know how crazy he was, but you know, this is gonna be dope to hear. Now, if you haven't checked out all my other Larry Bird videos, the Michael Jordan videos, or all the other basketball videos for that matter, make sure you check the playlist out that pops up at the end. There's a sports playlist that'll pop up at the end. There's over 3,500 reactions on my channel. Hip-hop, sports, comedy, geography, history, you name it, bro. Go check it out. All right? Just some random shit, you know what I mean? Some scary videos, all of that. So, yo, if that's what you're into, click up, squad up, tap in, whatever you want to call it. And you know we blazing too, right? You know we blazing, right? Yo. So, yo, if you got something to smoke, roll up, blaze with your boy. Bro, I love the sports reactions, bro. You know, sports and music are my two passions, right? Well, I kind of have a couple, you know what I mean? Hunting, diving, shit like that. You know, but definitely love my sports. Played rugby league for 26 years. All of that. Grew up watching basketball, bro. And, yo, I'm loving it. So, yo, keep sending these bangers in. I just reacted to a soccer video earlier, and ice hockey as well, bro. So, yo, go check those out. Anyway, let's get into this, bro. Let's start this. Run the numbers up on this, all right? Let's do it.
The man from Indiana who gave us an 80s to remember by lighting up a battle between the Celtics and the Lakers will forever be heralded as one of the players who saved basketball. Bird and Magic's coast-to-coast war and jaw-dropping styles gave the NBA the boost it needed before the emergence of Michael Jordan. But for Bird, with 3 titles, 2 Finals MVPs, and 3 consecutive MVP seasons, some forget just how good he really was. Today we look at NBA players explaining how crazy good Larry Bird was in his prime. Before we get into all that, if you want to win a PS5 with NBA 2K22 and Madden NFL 22 included, leave a like, comment, subscribe, and turn on notifications to enter the giveaway. When speaking of the NBA's greatest of all time, there's always 5 or 10 guys that hit the list. Each carries a different generation. From 50s Bill Russell to 60s Wilt Chamberlain or 70s KareemAbdulJabbar, 80s Magic Johnson, 90s Michael Jordan, 2000s Shaquille O'Neal and Kobe Bryant, to today's LeBron James. Some get overlooked when they shouldn't. For example, Tim Duncan. And others get left behind because of the lack of titles, like Charles Barkley. What happens when all these players talk of another great as if he was like no other? Larry Bird was lauded by most of these legends, because he was one of them too. He was consistent, tough, offensively masterful, and one of the first big guys to shoot many three-point shots. LeBron James spoke candidly in an interview about how he was one of the few guys ever to win a three-point contest with a warm-up shirt on. LeBron referring to the time Larry won his 3rd consecutive three-point contest. James continued,
for young guys that don't know him, you know, they think of Larry Bird as a jump shooter. But he was so much more than that. He was a passer. He averaged double-digit rebounds. He defended, he took charges. And, you know, he's a straight-up complete basketball player, and me as a small forward.
Later in his career, LeBron adapted his game to the new way of basketball, which was a charge led by the Golden State Warriors in shooting more from behind the arc. LeBron was considered a big guy, but began shooting more threes, and no doubt was heavily influenced by the fact that Larry Legend had already achieved this feat in the 80s. In another interview, when asked about his top 3 of all time, LeBron put Larry Bird firmly in there with MJ and Dr. J.
Oh my God.
Same here. Those are my top 3 as well, bro.
Dr. J.
So my top 3, my top 3 are more. No, actually, I pretty much Michael Jordan. Yeah, I'd have to get Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, and Larry Bird.
Shaq had a very different opinion on Larry initially. He said he disliked Bird because he was jealous. He thought, how could this regular-looking guy do everything?
Never really had a chance to play against Larry Bird, but I actually used to hate Larry Bird. I hated him.
Shaq soon realized as he grew older and wiser that despite getting the luck of the Irish with the Celtics, Larry made his own luck when it came to shooting the ball. Shaq, at 7'1", of course, had a completely different style of game at the time. He was built to the max and used brute force to impose his will on the defense and rack up the points, blocks, and rebounds. Shaq was also faster than most give him credit for, particularly in the early part of his career.
O'Neal the rebound, now the Magic with a final shot chance. O'Neal runs the floor, takes it all the way!
Bird was notoriously slow, which was all the more testament to his skill set, but his basketball IQ was just on a different planet. He once sank a shot from behind the backboard, which O'Neal chalked down to a fluke following a bet with his friend.
Van Vincent to Bird, and it goes!
How can you call any shot that Larry Bird takes as a fluke? You know what I mean? Larry Bird, I think he's dominated so much with the shooting and stuff like that he has literally earned the right to be given benefit of the doubt, bro. You know what I mean?
I've seen everything.
Shaq never really got the chance to play against Larry Bird, which is unfortunate, because I don't think it would have taken him so long to recognize greatness. On the other hand, six-time NBA champion Kareem Abdul-Jabbar battled Bird on numerous occasions while playing with the Showtime Lakers. Bird got the better of him in the 1984 finals, and took another two in a decade that was largely dominated by the purple and gold. Kareem spoke about how Larry might have been the best he had played against, and said,
"How good was
Michael
Bird?
Jordan.
I don't think people look at him and think, oh, he's a white guy, slow guy.
Chubby white guy, he wore us out, man. You know, because he just, this muscle here, the one between his ears, that was his best, you know, because
IQ for the roof.
Made the three-point, and he had assists and rebounded, steals. He was always at the right place at the right time on the court. You know, one of the great players, you know, I had the opportunity to play against.
11-time All-Star Charles Barkley, a regular season MVP during a star-filled 90s, was once asked, "Are you better than Bird?" And he took a long pause before answering, which is very telling.
Am I better than Bird? Oh man, that's a great question.
Most great players respond immediately with how they think they're the best, because you have to have that kind of mentality in order to get to the top.
Hey,
Instead,
that's it.
Barkley answered,
That's it. A lot of people will say, hey man, look, like Floyd Mayweather, for instance, yo, he a cocky dude, bro. He's up himself. Nah, he's not. He's confident, bro. And when you're a fighter or when you play any type of sports, bro, you've got to be confident, bro. You've got to think that you're better than the next dude. You know what I mean?
I'm a better rebounder. I'm probably a better defender. He's a better shooter, obviously. You know, a lot of people talk about who's better.
But you have to think, you have to have that mentality.
No, you know. I think, you know, it's a team game.
I think deep down he knew that Bird was a better player. And for someone as good as Chuck to be...
In fact, he just didn't want to say it without making... He didn't know how to say Larry Bird is better without saying Larry Bird is better. You know what I mean? He didn't know what to say.
You know, I think, you know, it's a team game.
I think deep down he knew that Bird was a better player, and for someone as good as Chuck to be stumped like that in an interview shows you how heavy the weight of Larry Bird's legacy was. Former teammate Kevin McHale also references how unreal Bird was to play with. McHale was Bird's right-hand man while playing with Boston, claiming the Sixth Man of the Year award twice, along with 7 All-Star appearances. His story of a specific Detroit game is fascinating. There was a bit of time left on the clock, and we had beaten Detroit, and I just scored 56, and I'm walking off the court, and Larry said, "Where are you going?" I said, "I'm done." I said, "I'm exhausted. I'm tired." Larry goes, "Don't do it, man, because when I get that hot, I'm not coming out of the game." A week later, he got that hot. He looked at me at about 50 points, and he looked at me and said, "I told you." The pair would go on to win 3 titles together, and McHale would continue to tell stories that live on in Celtics folklore forevermore. A highlight being a throwback from Bird's brutal trash talk at a game in Phoenix.
We have a play, out of bounds play, I'm taking it out, and Larry says, "I'm going to bust off the play, and I'm just going to come out, and I'm going to shoot a 3, and I'm like, "We're down 2. I'm like, "No, don't do that." I'm like, "Let's shoot a 2, please. Go to the hole, try to get fouled. Let's just get into overtime, see if we can't win this game." And Larry says, "No, I'm just going to bust a 3 on him." And I'm like, "Oh, my God." So he tells the Phoenix bench, he tells the coaches, yeah, I'm just fixing to bust a 3 on you guys and just go home. I'm tired of this. And
hey, look, I know y'all want me to go into overtime, but yeah, I gotta go home, bro. I'm done for the night. It's getting boring. I'm just gonna end the game.
And he gets the ball, jumps out, busts the play, comes out, gets the ball at the slot, shoots the ball. As the ball's in the air, he kind of turns towards the Phoenix bench and yells, "Told you so!"
Larry's mental game was such that he could just open up any team and tear them apart. He would use psychological warfare on a regular basis. Players speak of his toughness not because of his size or physicality, but because of his mind. He would impose his will on the opposition and could force them off their game just as much as he could switch on his.
Yo, and like Kareem was saying earlier, he's just one of those players that's always there, right? Like I said, I play rugby league, right? Played rugby league my whole life. I follow rugby league. Like, as soon as I finish this, there's a couple games on, right? I'll be sitting down to watch. Like, I watch every single, like this. So you got the NBA. Now, the equivalent of the NBA in rugby league is called the NRL, right? And I watch every NRL match. You see what I'm saying? So, what I was going to say is, there's a player called Cameron Smith. He'll go down in rugby league as probably the greatest player to ever play the game. He just recently retired the last, 2 years ago, a year or two ago. So the thing with him is his highlight reel, it's not that great. His highlight reel's not that great. He didn't have all the fancy footwork like all the jukes and all of the, you know what I mean, any of that shit. He just did the things that really matter that you don't notice. Like he'll make that tackle. That one tackle that motivates the team. Or he'll throw a pass 2 or 3 passes before the touchdown. But it was because of that pass they got the breakaway and all of that kind of shit. Like he does those real little small nitty gritty things that don't look so cool, but gets the job done. And that's why he'll go down as one of the greatest players to ever lace up the boots. Like Larry Bird. Right, he doesn't have that Michael Jordan type highlight reel with all the dunks and all that shit. But his IQ on the field, crazy. I mean, on the court, crazy.
A mastermind at trash talk tactics, Larry Bird will forever go down in history as one of the greatest trash talkers of all time. And in the 80s, that mattered. With players such as Bill Laimbeer, Hakeem Olajuwon, Magic Johnson, and the eventual emergence of Michael Jordan, Bird did what was necessary in order to gain that mental edge that took him over the top.
Insane. Look at that passing.
James Worthy, the 1988 Finals MVP, simply stated that Larry was trash-talking all the time, but the problem was he could back it up.
Yeah, he could back it up. So when you're arrogant and you can back it up, you're not arrogant, you're just good. And, Larry...
Yo, isn't it? Yo, there's some facts, so right. If you're arrogant and you can back it up, you're not arrogant. You're just good, my nigga. Facts.
Arrogant and you can back it up, you're not arrogant, you're just good. And Larry was good.
Even Werther's former teammate Magic Johnson spoke on the fact that he had a real dislike for Larry Bird as far back as their college playing days for the very reason that Larry would constantly get the better of him. Johnson claimed in a recent interview during a press build-up for the Broadway play about the pair that after he beat Larry in the NCAA championship game in 1979, the most-watched college basketball game ever, by the time he got to the Lakers, they were 0-8 to the Celtics.
I need to watch that game. I need to watch that game.
Them because when I got here, we were 0-4, I think 8, and then the first time against the Celtics, and then in championship series, and then we lost that in '84. That made us 0-9, I believe.
And later is quoted as saying, "When I played, Larry Bird was the only one I feared." Not bad when hearing it from a 5-time champion and one of the true.
You hear that? When I played, Larry Bird was the only one I feared. Yo, that's from Magic, man. Stop playing with him.
Larry Bird was the only one I feared. Not bad when hearing it from a 5-time champion and one of the true great basketball players of all time. At the 2019 NBA Awards, Johnson received the NBA Lifetime Achievement Award, but it was shared by guess who? Larry Bird. Bird was simply the king of talking the talk, then actually going out and walking the walk.
Listen, man, retirement is great for you because you never talked this long.
Dominique Wilkins recounts one of the most famous games where Larry Bird promised Kevin McHale he was going to break McHale's record against Atlanta. Wilkins said,
"He got so hot in that game that you talk about that patented step back. He was doing that step back and he switched it to his left hand 3 separate times in that game. He hit a 3. He was scoring anywhere on the floor that he wanted.
Is this when the bench was giving each other 5?
The bench was giving each other 5.
Did you get in a fight with them after the...
I said, did you get into a fight with them after the game? That was when the Hawks bench. Y'all remember that? Larry Bird said off the, like, something into the trainer's lap. You know that one?
Yeah, forget Larry. Did you beat anybody on the bench? Because you giving 5, he's scoring on me.
Every one of those guys got fined $3,000.
Okay.
Larry's legend lives on because of the
They go
greats that want to
fine,
tell
bro.
them. The reason there's a list of top 10 players who consistently call Bird their toughest opponent or one of their all-time greats is because Larry himself is in that list. Larry is a top 10 baller of all time. His style doesn't matter when his skill sinks the opposition. Because above all, the opposition will remember. They'll remember the steals, the shots, the clutch plays, and the trash talk. They'll remember the Bird from the early 80s, not from the early 90s.
And this is the thing, bro. Like I was saying about Cameron Smith. Players don't really... The players on the field, they don't care about the jukes and all of that. It's the losses. It's the losses that you feel. All those years later, you're still feeling some of those losses. And the reason why you lost, that guy there, bro, because of that dude. Yeah, that guy scored all the touchdowns, but who set those touchdowns up? Who's the guy that's actually setting all these plays up that you don't see? Who's that dude? That's the dude you want to take out of the game, because without him, he ain't scoring no touchdowns. You know what I'm saying? I don't know the equivalent in American football. But in rugby league, we call them a halfback and a 5'8". Those are the two guys on the field that set up all the plays, you know what I mean? They put in that nice little kick to the corner where your winger jumps on it and scores, or he'll do a little fake pass and shift the ball back the other way, like that guy. Who's that?
The Larry who stepped out on the court in his warm-up jacket and made Michael Jordan recoil in envy. MJ announced,
"He ain't took off his top yet." See when he took off his top.
Well, when Bird did,
he ain't even taking selfies.
He may as well have taken a mop and bucket to the floor because he was about to clean up. He was an impetuous and never-relenting opponent that took the life from anyone who stepped onto his battlefield. The consensus is a resounding stamp of legendary status for the man who will forever go down in the history books as one of the greatest ever players, and arguably the greatest ever Celtic to grace the court. What did you think of Larry Bird in his prime?
Basketball, like basketball genius. Scientist. We call him basketball scientist. We should be calling him doctor as well, bro. Dr. Bird. Doc Bird. Doc Bird, bro, homie. Anyway, that was fire, bro. That was fire. Thanks everyone for tapping in. I appreciate all the support. If there's any other videos you want me to react to, don't forget, drop them in the comment section, bro. I've done the trash talking, I've done the ultimate mixtape, all of that. I've done Michael Jordan's ones. I've done Magic's ones. I've done a few other ones as well, bro. So just go check those out, alright? Hey, yo, man. Mad love from New Zealand, bro. Stay safe, stay dangerous. We out. Peace.